Well, today is February the 24th. Can you believe we're already almost 2 months into this? Well, almost ending 2 months of this year. Pride. Let's talk about that for a minute. What is it? Well, according to the Bible, pride is not the same as self-loathing or low self-esteem. When the Apostle Paul wrote about pride, he simply said, "Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought to, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith God has given you." That's in Romans chapter 12. If you'll notice, Paul never told us that we needed to think of ourselves lowly. He never told us that we needed to hate ourselves, even though tradition may teach us that humility is synonymous with self-depreciation. The Bible does not support that kind of thinking. Paul never told the believers in Rome that they should think negatively. In fact, he told them that they needed to think highly of themselves and to see themselves the way God saw them in accordance with the measure of faith that God has given you. But Paul set a maximum limit to this high self-esteem. He warned his readers that they should not think of themselves more highly than they ought to. In other words, Paul envisioned a kind of ceiling to self-assessment. He envisioned a ceiling of reality. So Paul warned the people not to draw conclusions about themselves that transcended reality. You probably know a few people like that think of themselves a little more highly than they should. Reality would say you're not quite that good. But the key here is to see yourself accurately. And the most accurate picture you can ever get of yourself is to picture yourself the way God pictures you, or the way God sees you, or the way God's really painted the portrait of you. You don't need to focus on the picture you have painted in your own mind, and you certainly don't need to focus on the picture that others have painted of you. You need to focus and see yourself accurately through the master creator, the one who created you. And if you do, well, I think you'll eventually think of yourself highly enough to achieve your purpose in life, and not so highly that you become filled with pride.